Hey guys, I'm Mark, and welcome back to the channel where it's all about racing. I thought I'd have a two-part series talking about two important concepts in sports car racing that are sometimes misunderstood or just not understood well and are highly debated. The first one of being which is balance of performance, or BOP, which we will talk about second, because I felt you had to talk about homogenization first before you get into BOP. So what is homogenization? Well, that is the process by which the racing governing bodies, like the FIA, establish rules and specifications that manufacturers must meet to allow their road legal cars to compete in a racing series. And we're looking at a prototype here, not a road legal car. These rules ensure a level playing field among all brands and race car models in each specific class. The idea was to produce race-modified versions of everyday vehicles rather than pure purpose-built race machines. Well, I'm not really sure that's worked. We can discuss that in the comment section. The first part is rule setting. Now, the governing body establishes rules and specifications for each class of car competing. You're looking at a prototype or P1 car. Actually, that Ferrari was a hypercar. Then you're looking at the LMP2 class, and these are typically Oreca 07 chassis with a Gibson 8-cylinder naturally aspirated engine, and they sound absolutely phenomenal. And then you have the GT3 cars, my personal favorites. Now you have GT Pure, you have TCRs, and you have other various classes depending upon the series. There's rally cars and everything else. But anyhow, getting back to this and specifically to this, then there's the production requirement. To ensure fairness and to prevent the creation of race purpose vehicles, the rules mandate that certain numbers of production and consumer versions of the cars must be produced, such as the Corvette you're looking at here, the Porsche 911, the McLaren, so forth and so on. Then there's homogenization application. And that's where the manufacturer submits the detailed specifications of the proposed production car to the governing body for approval. And next comes approval and competition. If a car's design meets the requirements and the production numbers are confirmed, the vehicle is homologated and allowed to compete in that racing series. This process is to create a level playing field and to encourage high-production road cars and ensure a balanced starting grid. And I think we would all agree that you pretty much get that. Now that we've talked about homogenization, let's talk about balance of performance. Now with BOP, I'm going to stick with this Corvette that we've been looking at. Balance of performance is a method used in motorsports to ensure a level playing field between different brands. Kind of sounds like homogenization. Models and race cars in various classes. The aim of BOP is to make the performance potential of the cars more equal and allow for closer racing and more exciting spectacle for the fans. Now, there are lots of things that go into BOP. One of the biggest is weight. Cars are designed with ballast holders, of which weights can be added or detracted to make performance more equal. Then there's engine power. This can be limited through devices like air restrictors in the intake or setting an engine RPM limit. There is fuel flow and tank capacity, and that's the rate at which fuel can flow to the engine or the total amount of the fuel that a car may carry. And again, they can use restrictors on that, and they can put, I think it's either rubber or plastic balls in the fuel tank to limit the amount of fuel that the car has. Of course, there's aerodynamics, the size of the components, such as the rear wings, the splitter, and the diffusers that can be adjusted. And then there's ride height, something that a lot of people don't recognize, and that's the measurement from the floor of the car to the road surface. And then finally, if you guys remember the GTLM cars and the GTE cars, that had to do with tires and with wheels and tires, basically. And the tires were specially made and designed for each car, which gave those entries, like the GTLM entries over the GTDs or the factory cars, a huge, and I do mean a huge advantage over their counterparts that had, less powerful cars, had standard tires, so forth and so on. So balance of performance is basically those 5 or 6 things, and there are others that they can use, but those are the most common. Now, balance of performance is debatable. Race drivers hate it. I have literally seen some drivers leave the series because they felt the balance performer really disadvantaged their car, and they weren't, particularly if they were not professional drivers and they were businessmen, paying millions of dollars to run a race car every year, they just weren't going to do it. So anyhow, let me know what you think and any thoughts you might have on the two topics we've talked about, homogenization and balance of performance. And guys, thanks for watching. Hope this has helped.